Assalamu alaikum, I'm Bhika and you with us in the lab, empowering, inspiring and informing our viewers. Today's episode is a follow-up of the first segment where we talked about female abuse. We discussed the various types of abuse and how to identify it. The world for many abuse victims is dark, often lonely and isolated. Sometimes we might feel clueless on how to help a victim or make them feel less vulnerable. With us in studio today is Hafsa Carrim, mother of 3, attorney and community activist. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you for joining us,
Thank
Hafsa.
you for having us.
It's a pleasure. Jayshree, Padayatchey, community economic development expert and entrepreneurship mentor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having the opportunity.
I'm glad you're here with us. So Jayshree, as women, we are responsible to drive our own personal development and empowerment. How do we take our power back from an abuser?
Zakira, it starts when we voluntarily give that permission to our partners. So it's only fair that if we were to drive it on our own, we need to take that back. We are responsible for the way we think, and the way we think is the way we would behave, and ultimately it is giving that power over to an abuser. If we have to take that back, it simply means that we have to do things differently. We have to start thinking differently, and we have to start doing things in a different way. And that is how we can ultimately, slowly, in a very civilized way, take that power back. But it is within us to do so.
Okay, I'm just going to be a devil's advocate here now and ask you, how do we give it in the first place?
You know, it starts when you allow someone to make decisions for you, to make your choices for you. And that's where it really starts, because then they are responsible and ultimately they control your actions, the things you do. Everything that your life revolves around is controlled because they have the permission to do so. And that is how we do it. We do not object to things. And that's where it starts.
So basically, it happens on a day-to-day basis involuntarily.
Yes, I think it's a subconscious thing. You don't even realize it's happening.
Yes.
You know, as women, I think we feel that it's so nice for someone to want to do everything for us and make our choices, you know, and our decisions. And you just get into it without even realizing it.
So true. I think that's so true, and it hits hard. And I think as women, we need to realize that we can be victims, and I mean, like you say, subconsciously.
Yes, you don't even realize it's happening.
It's happening
because you know, I think when you're in a relationship or in a marriage, you know, it's automatic that you do things for each other, but you really don't realize when it actually happens that it becomes that everything gets done for you and decided for you. You know, it's something that happens so easily and so effortlessly that it's only after a long period of time you say, but why don't I make my own decisions anymore? You know, why don't I decide what I want or where I want to go or what I want to do? But then it's already too far, because how do you start doing something differently when it's been done like that all along? And you find that when women start realizing, but this shouldn't be happening. So when they want to change it, a lot of times it's been fine all along. What's different now?
Why now?
You know, why are you changing? But actually it's not that you are changing. It's just that you realize you don't want the same old, you know, and that you have the choice to make the decisions of what it is you want to do in your life.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for that advice. Hafsa, is the exit from an abusive relationship based on timing? Because why, as Jayshree said, why do we wait for it to happen for so long? Is there like an aha moment that happens?
You know, it's actually very difficult, because it can happen in an instant where maybe an event occurs that you can't tolerate anymore. But very often in an abused relationship, what happens is you will keep leaving and coming back, or you will make that decision. So it's a roller coaster. There are good moments and bad moments. So when you're on that low, you'll think that it's time to leave. But then you gradually get sucked into it again, and then you think, it's not so bad. So you justify staying. Though what happens is, it takes sometimes just that final straw to break the camel's back, and that's when you leave. But ordinarily, if you know that you are in that kind of relationship and you need to get out of it, you need to plan for it. You need to make sure that you have your ducks in a row before you get out and do anything. Because there's a lot that you need to sort out before you can just go, you know.
Okay, so why do you, if you have those very bad moments, like you say, the highs and the lows, how do you forget the lows in your times of high? How do you forget the lows that you continue in that relationship?
Very often an abused person is, I'm not saying abused woman, I'm saying abused person.
Right.
Because remember, abuse is everybody's
across
exposed.
the board.
It's
Yes.
not just
A female.
So an abused person is usually so low in self-esteem that they think that they're hopeless. They think that they can't do it. They just accept that this is my lot and this is how I must continue, which is sad.
Okay. It is. It really it is sad. It's really touching, and it happens across the board, and it happens to the best of us. And you don't realize that until perhaps you hear somebody speaking about it. And the circumstances.
The Pretoria Muslim Women's United is a forum of over 30 various community-based organizations serving the community of Pretoria and the rural areas within the city of Tshwane. Working under the motto of "In Unity is Strength," the women of the PMWU together provide humanitarian relief, uplift the community, and empower women and children via generous sponsorship and donations. The ultimate aim of the PMWU is to work towards alleviating poverty in the community.
Jayshree, how do we create a new way forward in terms of how we think about where we're going to go from here onwards? Once you've decided, like Hafsa said, the aha moment that breaks the camel's back, what is your way forward?
It's so important to sit down and think carefully about where you want to be, because you need to take time to find out, where do you see yourself, and you need to find out, okay, so if this is what I want to be independent, or I want to be more, make my decisions better, or I want to really create a purpose in my life. You need to go out and you need to find out, so how can this be done? When you realize, okay, I feel maybe my purpose is being involved with children, for example, so go out there and find, so what does it take for me to be involved? It's about doing research. I think a lot of women are not really aware that there's a huge amount of resources and information available. It is just a matter of going and finding that out. We have the internet at our fingertips and everything is on there. Find out, how can you do this? Where do you get it done? How long does it take? And craft a vision for yourself. And I always advise, when I work with community women, I always tell them, let us do a vision board, right? Because that is the best way to plot a direction forward. Because if you're just thinking about things, it's just all in your head. But if you actually put it down on paper, then you will know you have something that is, you have a formal route that you want to follow, right? So you'll find when you start thinking about something, about a way forward, and you start finding out ways that it can be done, and you actually make note of this, you will find that you will then go back to those pointers and say, okay, so what are the steps to get to this goal? What are the steps to get to the next goal? And when you break it down, it becomes more real. It becomes more doable. And that's what it's all about, because the most successful people have always set goals and they have created the vision of where they want to be. But more importantly, they have found the steps that it takes to get to that goal. And that's where they start. So ultimately, if you want to have a different life, if you want to have a different vision of yourself, it's important to create the basis for where you want to go to, and the how to do it. And I always advise women, let's create a vision board, because then you have your plan, and it's right there, and that's what you follow to get to where you want to be.
Okay, that makes sense, but it seems pretty hard for someone that was in a deep comfort zone to now go to to vision boards. And I think, do you get people that will want to go that step, or you working with the community ladies? Do they go to that step, or do they prefer being in the comfort zone?
You know what? These ladies come from your rural areas, your informal settlements.
Okay.
They're township-based women. Believe me, they create those vision boards, and they present those vision boards. So it is doable. As women, we are so powerful, and yet many times we don't realize that.
Definitely.
You just need someone to just start the dialogue.
Absolutely.
And the sky's the limit. So yes, it is done. I've seen it done. I've seen women create vision boards, and I've seen them achieve that.
Great effort. Hafsa, what's the difference between getting professional help and just your friends or your family helping out in this vulnerable situation?
With friends and family, they're very important, because you're going to need that support structure. When you do leave a relationship like this, or if you're in a relationship of abuse, you need an outlet to vent. The problem with professional help is it's expensive. Usually seeking therapy is expensive, but it's a very important component, because many women don't even realize that they are in an abusive relationship.
Yes.
There are many women who just assume that, he's so possessive because he loves me, and that's how they justify.
Supposed to be.
Or they, like I said, you go on to that honeymoon phase, and you think, I'm so lucky, there are others who are worse off than me.
Yes.
So you need a professional to help you to identify that you are an abused person, that you are going through this. You need to identify that you need help. You need to build your self-esteem. You need to develop coping skills. So a professional is it's when I say it's expensive, obviously if you're going to go for therapy, it's going to cost.
Yes.
But we do have facilities available at the Laudium hospital, for instance.
Okay.
So if you're unable to afford it, you go there, see a doctor. They'll refer you to the psychiatric and psychological wards, mental health, and they will refer you to the correct person. So you will be able to see a psychologist free of charge if you can't afford one.
Okay, so that is what we need to discuss from now on. What are the avenues? Hafsa, you can just touch on that briefly. What are the avenues for people that don't have the resources or the money or the financial assistance to get them through this professional help stage?
Well, with regards to legal assistance, you can go to legal aid.
Okay.
And that's free if you're unable to afford it. So you can get the assistance of a lawyer. Okay. You can go to the local clinic or the local hospital, where they will give you the necessary help.
Okay.
And I think what also helps is that usually within our communities, we have community leaders, and we have in religious organizations, you have people who are able to give you that kind of support.
Okay. There was an episode that was being sent around in this current week about a female that was abused by her husband so badly, and then apparently the cops were there, and then they arrested him, and then she dropped the charges. Jayshree, you can answer this. Why do females do that? Why do they pull back and hold back? Is it out of fear?
I think it's out of fear, but I also think it's because they are too scared, and they feel that they will not be able to do it on their own. And a lot of times it's because they are probably financially dependent.
Yes.
And they don't know how to move forward. Okay. So it's just about the power. It's a power struggle. It's that, you can call the police, and you can get back. What happens tomorrow?
Yes.
And I think a lot of times, I think that's why females actually will go and withdraw cases that are set up, even if they've been abused. It's just because they're too scared. They don't have that that strong mind to say, so let me start this forward now. You know,
Today's the day.
yes, you know, they'll think, I've got kids, I need to run the home. It is just fear of the unknown.
Okay.
The Pretoria Muslim Women's United is a forum of over 30 various community-based organizations serving the community of Pretoria and the rural areas within the city of Tshwane. Working under the motto of "In Unity is Strength," the women of the PMWU together provide humanitarian relief, uplift the community, and empower women and children via generous sponsorship and donations. The ultimate aim of the PMWU is to work towards alleviating poverty in the community.
Hafsa, you said earlier on that when you have that aha moment, when you decide, you need to have your ducks in a row. What are those ducks?
Well, you should have somebody, a support structure. You should have enough money to sustain you for a couple of months. You should have access to a cell phone that he can't track. You should be able to access a computer, like the library computer, which he can't trace. You know, you should have, because remember, an abuser has full control over you.
Yes.
They will go through your emails, they will go through your phone, your call list, your everything. So financially, they will cripple you to such an extent that you will be totally dependent on them.
Okay. So
And that's why you need to ensure that in whatever avenue he has taken away your powers, you need to start reconnecting and establish. And very often an abuser will cut you off from your friends, from your family. So you need to start developing those relationships again. You need to start making those calls so you know that if ever there's a time when you need to leave, you have somebody you can go to, somebody who knows.
Yes.
And the most important thing is, I think, if you're in an abused relationship, you need to speak out. You need to let people know that it's happening, because we are so embarrassed, we are so humiliated, we keep it quiet until it's too late.
it's really sad. It's a tough topic to be discussing, and we're running out of time. Jayshree, I need you to quickly tell our viewers what are the resources there for victims, and how do they go about getting in touch with people that are going to help them and ready and waiting to help them.
You know, at this point in time in our country and in the world, there is so much of support available for abused women. All you need to do is just go onto the internet and log on and say, you know, where can I get help for abused women in Gauteng, basically. And it will throw up a list of organizations. There are lots of NPOs that are involved in it. There's lots of foundations that are supporting women. You know, we have each and every community has a social development worker. You know, if you go to the hospital, if you go to the clinics, there's always avenues that they will link you up to help you. And there's lots of shelters. There's so much out there. In fact, I think the thing is that people are just not aware. You know, they don't take the time to find out, but there is an amazing amount of support available to people that are involved in abusive relationships.
Perfect. So there you have it, viewers. The internet is your best bet. Go on, log in and check for centers and people that can assist you. Hafsa, your final words to women out there who are being abused or who are victims, what do you tell them?
Please don't keep quiet. Don't be embarrassed. It has nothing to do with you. You are not being abused because it's your problem. It's his problem. He's abusing you because he's insecure, he's insufficient, he feels threatened, and that's the only reason he abuses you. A strong man will never do that.
Thank you so much. Well then, there we have it. We're equipped with a wealth of information, how to validate an abuse victim's circumstances, but also about the assistance out there that can help abused victims. I end today's episode with something really powerful. Alone, we are a drop, but together, we are an ocean. Catch us next week on Laudium Today for another great episode. Assalamu alaikum. You can watch our episodes on YouTube and subscribe to our profile. Also, stay in touch on Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram, and we'll keep you up to speed with topics coming up next week. Don't miss an episode.